Hey, what's going on? It's your friendly neighborhood independent author, author here, offering my opinion on reviews, paying for reviews specifically, not actual reviews, but actually paying for reviews. Just sharing my thoughts or offer my thoughts on paying for reviews. So let's get right into it. Okay, so this is something I've wanted to talk about for quite some time. So I'm glad I got this channel to do that. So, paying for reviews. My thoughts on it. Do I believe that authors, whether you're independent or not, should you pay for reviews for your book, essentially? And I am of two minds with this. Honestly, this is not me trying to play both sides of the argument. I really am of two minds. On one end, I am absolutely. I understand people who say no, do not pay for reviews. You would want to get genuine reviews for your book. Absolutely, I agree. And even with the paid options, and one I will discuss toward the end of this video, so you're definitely going to want to stick around. But even the paid options, although there are numerous legitimate paid options for authors out there to get reviews for their book. I still personally, me as a creative writer, as an author, I personally would rather have someone genuinely support said book rather than do it because they are being rewarded in a way to give me a genuine response, okay? I do not support paying somebody, some random that's going to message you and know that you're an author and know that you're an author who relies on reviews or the importance of reviews. Let me put it that way. You know that they know that reviews are important to you, and then they message you and they say things like, I will review or they call themselves a book reviewer, right? Or they'll say things like, I will review your book if you pretty much pay me, right? Or you might get people who message you, and this could be all over the social media. I have gotten the majority of messages like this on LinkedIn, but I have gotten messages like that on other platforms, but I'm using LinkedIn because that's where the majority of the people who reach out to me, again, these so-called book reviewers do, and they reach out to me pretty much asking me to pay for a review, okay? And then there are ones who will make it clear that they want to give you a positive review, but they want you, again, to pay for that. That's all a scam. People, it's all a scam. It is all a scam. Those who are reaching out to you to review your book. Here's the thing. Legitimate authors, book authors out there are on YouTube or are on other platforms, and they're not going to ask the author to pay them for a review. What they will do is ask you to, at the very least, send a copy to they will say they're interested in reviewing a book or having book reviews out there, and they would want you to send them a copy, most likely just a PDF. It doesn't have to be a physical copy. Most of the time it's a PDF. They will ask you to send them a PDF copy of the book so they can review your book. And again, they get the book for free, at the very least the manuscript, the final, of course, and you get your legitimate free review from said actual reviewer. Nobody who's legitimate, let me make it clear, no singular reviewer who is legitimate is going to reach out to you and ask you to pay them individually for a review. Now you're probably saying, well, Ernest, how do book reviewers make money then if they're you claim that they're scammers and things of that nature? How do legitimate book reviewers make their money? Well, again, as I've mentioned before, there are things like YouTube. You can have ads on your videos. You can again have these platforms where you have a website, maybe where you have book reviews up there, and again, you're not actually getting money from the authors to get these reviews, to get a review, but you have ways to monetize that website, right? And there could be individuals who are actually receiving payment for the reviews that they leave on for these authors here. But personally speaking, I would not pay for an individual review. Now, would I pay for a review? Yes. As I said, I am of two minds with this. I would pay for reviews, but not from a single individual person that's just, again, sends me a message on LinkedIn asking me to, or saying to me, I will review your book if you pay me, or something around about to that way. Because again, I've gotten many of the messages. I've gotten somebody literally who told me that they, or tried to lie and say that they read my book, one of my books, which is almost 200 pages long, right? They tried to say they read it in at least 19 minutes, 19 minutes, okay? Unfortunately, run into experiences like this, whether you are a first time author, second time, or even, again, a long time author. You are going to run into people who are going to try to run scams on you because they know how important reviews are to an author's sales and author's, journey in general. But don't fall for that mess. Now, as I've mentioned before, I will pay for reviews, but in a legitimate form. Right. So we are here, and as I've stated, this is one platform or it's promising authors to get authentic book reviews. This platform is called Book Award Pro. They don't sponsor this channel at all, just to make that clear. I signed up with them some time ago. I have yet to use their service. So with that being said, this is going to be a review of their service. So I can't share my thoughts per se. I don't feel comfortable sharing my thoughts on their service yet. But they did email me this about getting legitimate reviews for your books, if for any author that's interested in this. So I'm going to scroll here, do a bit of reading. If you would like this email, please let me know in a comment below. Or you can just shoot me an email and I can forward this to you. But Book Award Pro is excited to introduce our Amazon review service, the easiest way for authors to get legitimate reviews, as you can see in bold, while staying completely within Amazon's guidelines. We don't sell reviews. That's good to know. That would violate Amazon's rules, obviously. Instead, we use our proven system to find real readers who genuinely want to read and review books in your genre. I love that part there. This is the stuff where I feel as though that could have been uh bolded as well, me personally speaking, because my thing with getting reviews, of course, I want reviews, but I want reviews from people who genuinely want to read the book, genuinely did read the book, and not claim they read a 200-page book in 19 minutes, but people who did genuinely read the book and also want to share their thoughts. My thing and my comment to that individual was, well, if you really want to give me this review, you would just give me the review. You wouldn't ask me to pay you for that. That's not what's going to happen here. And that's been the situation with with a lot of my experience as an author, right? I got to the point where I just ignored the messages now because I just got tired of responding to these individuals. But a platform like this is what I would pay for. Now, People can say, well, there's individuals, people. You said you wouldn't pay an individual like person, but you're going to pay a platform. What if that person who messaged you on LinkedIn is charging you far less than what you would have to pay Book Award Pro or any other service like this for that? My thing is, you don't know how reputable that individual is. And that's my big issue with these quote book reviewers is a lot of them don't have proof of concept. They don't have proof that they actually do what they claim they're going to do. They just have the title book reviewer in their description. You can put anything in your description. I can say I'm a doctor. I'm not, but I can do that online. I can pretend to be a doctor. Why? Because you can put anything in your description, people. So they put the title of book reviewer and some other things in their title as well. And then when you go on their pages, you don't see book reviews that they left. You don't see people saying, hey, this person is, you don't see anything that points to them actually being or doing the thing that they claim to do. It's just seems like a bunch of reaching out to other people trying to get them to fall for the scam. And unfortunately, maybe because other authors have fallen for it. Other authors who were desperate for reviews have fallen for it. Not this one. Not this one. And, if I can help out as many people as possible, aspiring authors especially, in preventing these scams, I'm going to do so. And one way by doing so is by detailing my experiences, but also letting you know, hey, if you are struggling to get reviews, people to review your stuff, because, there are people, who get sales, but then the people I try to remind people if they do make a purchase, hey, please, I appreciate the purchase, but please leave a review. Some people still don't do it. That's not a guarantee, but with a platform like Book Award Pro, again, the guarantee is you pay for the service. I haven't looked into the pricing again. I haven't paid for used anything, so I can't give you a full on yet. Let me put it at terms yet. I haven't used anything yet. So until I do that, that's when I feel comfortably sharing my thoughts. That's a future video, so subscribe, all that good stuff. But as far as just having a platform like this, I trust this more than an individual shooting me a message. Now, the individual's rates might be a lot less, a lot cheaper than this service here, but it's probably also cheap for a reason. It's cheap to entice people to say, wow, I only have to pay you $5 for a review and you're going to give me a rave review or just a review. Wow. Yeah, it's that cheap because they want to entice you and have you fall for it. Now you're out of $5. Now they duped other authors who thought, wow, this it's real cheap to get a review out of, they duped them and now they're paying for reviews from a reviewer and never get a review and end up getting blocked. There's horror stories of people, these things actually happening to authors. Hence why I feel so strongly for not paying for a service, paying for a service like this, like Book Awards Pros, but not paying an individual who claims to be a book reviewer. Again, a legitimate reviewer is going to have their own platform, have proof of concept, proof that they actually leave a review. Okay, whether it's on video, whether they have their own blog or some sort, website, once again, they're going to have proof of concept, proof that they actually are who they say that they are and they do what they say that they do within their bio. Okay, they're going to have proof. And again, it's likely going to be a situation where you give them a free copy of your book and they give you a review. Simple as that. The money that you all make, it depends on what it is. If people go out and purchase your book because that book reviewers review, that's how you made your money. If people then go to that review and they say reviewer and they say you have X amount of views, we want you to advertise on here, or we want to run ads on your platform, whatever that case may be. That's how they make their money as well. It's not a direct thing where you are paying, taking out your credit card, your debit card, your whatever, Cash App, and even. It's not a direct payment from you to the reviewer. Book Award Pro, other platforms like Book Award Pro, they've found a way for, again, authors to pay for this premium service, but it's not going directly to these reviewers. I believe these reviewers are probably getting awarded in some other way. I don't know. Again, do not take my word. Do not take that part at least 100 as 100% fact. But as you've heard, or you may have read in the email, these are people who genuinely want to leave reviews and genuinely are interested in reading your stuff. Not people who, again, if you write fantasy and they're only into mystery and they read your fantasy book knowing that's not something that they like, but then they leave a negative review, and it may seem as though it's an indictment on you, even though if they are a fantasy fan, it's still not an indictment on you as an author. You're not going to please everybody, but it's the bigger issue was it's not that your story was bad. It was because they're just not into fantasies. And yet they still read a fantasy book and disliked it because, well, they're not into fantasy. These are people who actually are going from what Book Award Pro states. These are individuals who are actually going to be into your genre, your niche genre, you're into your book in general. Okay. And that is what excites me and that gets me to want to use a service like this. So, long story short, would I pay for reviews? If there's a service like Book Award Pro or any other platform like that, and it's trusted and everything, yeah. Would I pay for a review if an individual just messaged me on, again, LinkedIn or anywhere else and said, "Hey, Ernest, if you pay me, I will review your book"? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All the scammers, you've been warned, but I am 100% sure that I'm still going to get messages like that. Like I said, I just ignored them at this point, and you should too. Block them even. Report them. Heck, report it. That's what I have for you for today's video. If you got anything of value, please hit that like, comment, share, subscribe as well. And until next time, until next video, you see me when you see me. Y'all take care.